I'm starting to think that season 7 might be one of my favourite Friends seasons. Before I started to review the episodes, I don't think I would have known which one my favourite would have been, but I know it's only early days, and the one with Phoebe's cookies is only the third episode of season 7. But so far, season 7 has been pretty perfect, and I cannot wait to rewatch the rest and see if it really is my favourite season. Certainly, this episode is pretty fantastic. It is, of course, episode 3, season 7, the one with Phoebe's cookies, directed by Gary Halvorson. And as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. I will talk about each of the main narratives in turn, but I will start off by talking about Chandler because I absolutely love this intro. Chandler comes into Central Park and he points to his face, and people aren't really getting what he's getting at. He has glasses, and everybody seems to think he always wore glasses. And honestly, that's so true. He just suits them so well that it just seems like he always wore glasses. Which I guess is a compliment to how well Chandler carries them off and how well he selected the frames, because it looks pretty good. I'll continue to talk about Chandler and also Ross and Jack Geller. Then I'll talk about Joey and Rachel, and then we'll get in with the narrative from the title with Phoebe and Monica. So Chandler has been invited to play racquetball with Ross and his father, with Jack, and Chandler is happy to do this. And then things get a bit awkward. It seems like they had a good game. Then they go into the steam room, and because it's really steamy and his new glasses steamed up, he kind of sat on Jack's lap. And obviously he's really embarrassed about this. But what I really like is that Jack wasn't fazed. Jack tried to make Chandler feel comfortable. He told him that he had to pretend that he was a lawyer to his in-laws because he wanted to impress them. And I like that, because I feel like certainly at the beginning of Monica and Chandler's relationship, it's unclear how Jack and Judy were going to react to her dating Chandler, particularly when they thought that Chandler was the one who got Ross high and things. They didn't necessarily automatically love him. But I think over time we can see that actually that's not quite the case. And certainly with Jack here, he does like Chandler and want to spend time with him. And I think that that's really lovely. And then we have the final scene with Chandler where they're going into the jacuzzi room. And Chandler takes off his robe and he's naked, and obviously it's a little bit awkward. I like this part of the narrative, particularly with Jack. I thought Jack was really great in this episode. Then we come to Rachel and Joey. And what I love about this, I love several things about this, but it teaches me about sailing. I know nothing about sailing. I still know nothing about sailing, but I do know the term Cunningham. And that has been my takeaway from this episode for the best part of 20-something years. And that's all I know about. I still don't even know what it is, but certainly I enjoy learning some nautical terms here. And obviously Joey has the Mr. Beaumont. I like the fact that they didn't just get rid of that narrative. Joey bought the Mr. Beaumont at the auction, and it's come up a few times since then. And I like that. I like the fact that they didn't just go, Joey's just spent $20,000 on a boat, let's never mention it again. So I really appreciate that. And Rachel, who was sailing as a child, helped Joey learn how to sail, or at least that was the attempt. But Joey's not really paying attention. He doesn't really want to learn. And Rachel ends up shouting at him, and she shouts, "Greens don't quit," which, of course, is what her father would say. He'd yell, "Greens do not quit," to her when she was younger. And she realizes she's becoming her father. And it's really depressing. And ultimately, she and Joey end up just sitting on the boat, not going anywhere, enjoying Joey's picnic sandwiches. And Rachel ends up dropping the sandwich innards, and Joey yells, "You're wasting good pastrami." And he realizes he sounds like his father. And I like the fact that they're both turning into versions of their parents. And it's very rare. Well, not that rare. Certainly as the seasons go on, we get a bit more of it. But Rachel and Joey alone together is not something that we get that often. So I kind of like it, and I rather enjoyed it. And I just think it's such a fun part of the episode. As I said, I really appreciate that they didn't just completely abandon the Mr. Beaumont. They managed to get quite a bit out of it, which I rather like. And as I said, I will always remember the term Cunningham. 20 years later, or however many years since I first saw this, I still don't know what it means. But certainly it taught me something at the very least. So rather love that as well. And then we come to the cookies. And this comes about because Phoebe and Rachel are talking about getting Monica and Chandler an engagement present. And what I love so much about this, but Monica said, I know what I want, and Chandler said, it's what we want. And I love the fact that Monica was just, no, you wouldn't want this. I really love that. I mean, granted, yes, the gift should be for something they both want, but I like the fact that she was upfront and just said, no, this is what I want. And she wants Phoebe's grandmother's cookie recipe. Initially, Phoebe's reluctant, but then she decides to give her the recipe. She goes to the apartment, and of course, the recipe was burnt in the fire. And Monica asks her why she didn't keep it in a fireproof box far away from the original copy, and Phoebe replies, because I'm normal, and then presents her with a frozen cookie. So I don't necessarily think she had the ability to say, because I'm normal, in response to Monica's suggestion. But nevertheless, she did once upon a time make a batch and freeze a cookie. And Monica realizes that actually she can probably work out the recipe based on the cookie itself. Now, I do have some thoughts on that and what the recipe actually could have been, but I'll talk about that when we get there, when we have the reveal of what the recipe actually was. So she and Phoebe and also Ross spent time making cookies, trying to find the right recipe, and ultimately, well, first of all, actually, before we get to the ultimate, Phoebe also declares that she will die on October 15th, 2032, which is scarily close. So let's hope that's not accurate. But that's one of the really fun things about watching Friends years after the fact, is that things that seemed so far into the distance at the time are coming around pretty quickly. And Phoebe manages to say that it's from Nestle to Lausa, and Monica realizes it's Nestle Toll House, and she goes to her cupboard and she has a packet of the Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookies there. Well, the ingredients. And it turns out that it wasn't a secret family recipe after all. But what I will say is, first of all, we don't have this in the UK. We might do in like the American section of grocery stores, but in general, this is not something you'd find in our stores. And I had a look online, and from what I can tell, the ingredients are very, very basic for the original Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookies. Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong about this. But from what I can see, it's just very basic ingredients. It's flour, baking soda, salt, butter or margarine, granulated sugar, brown sugar, vanilla extract, and eggs, and also the Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookies. And one of the recipes says nuts. Another one says walnuts or pecans. So it might vary, but from what I can see, that's a very basic cookie recipe. And I feel like Monica should have known that. Like, what on earth was she putting into all of these many batches of cookies to try and establish what it was, when they just seem like very ordinary cookies? Maybe I'm missing something, though. As I said, we don't have this readily available in the UK. So maybe it's different to what I'm finding online. I would love to know more. And one of my little missions in life is to try Nestle Toll House chocolate chip cookies one day. For now, though, I can say that this definitely made me hungry for cookies. And Monica got the recipe anyway. So actually, with that being said, if she knew what the cookies tasted like, and she'd presumably had the Nestle Toll House cookies, she would have realised they were very, very similar. I'm not buying this narrative now that I'm thinking it through. I'm definitely overthinking it. But if anybody's had Nestle Toll House cookies and confirmed that actually they do taste like they seem to taste, or if they do taste a bit different, let me know. But either way, the one with Phoebe's cookies is a really delightful episode. Personal highlights would be Chandler with his glasses, and the moment Monica realises it's Nestle Toll House, Rachel and Joey interacting in general, and also the way Jack Geller treated Chandler. So, needless to say, I think that the one with Phoebe's cookies is a pretty fantastic episode of Friends.